As a teenager, I was overall a good girl. I minded my parents, made good grades, was involved in extracurricular activities, and went to church every Sunday and Wednesday. Then I turned 17. For some reason, I became rebellious while still trying to maintain my good girl persona. This fence walking lasted 6 months, at the end of which I discovered I was pregnant. I had three choices, one of which was unacceptable to me, so I buckled up, preparing for the long ride ahead of me. I knew the statistics. I'd sat through abstinence seminars on a yearly basis since I was 12. I knew my chances were slim that I'd finish high school, much less go to college. If I chose to keep the baby, terrified does not do the emotions I was feeling justice. Because of those statistics, I made the decision to give this baby up for adoption. Months went by, fraught with hormonal and bodily changes, morning sickness. I had all day sickness. My rapidly enlarging belly was a road map of stretch marks. My brisk athletic trot transformed itself into a lumbering waddle. Stylish clothes were boxed away and traded for maternity frocks. Hallmark commercials were the bane of my makeup's existence. I had realized that there are some choices that don't allow for do-overs. One day, while sitting on a picnic bench looking out upon the lake, I felt my baby move. It was then that I discovered that I'd suffered nausea, stretch marks, and weight gain from nothing if I gave this child up for adoption. I don't know, maybe it was the onslaught of hormones or the vast array of Hallmark commercials that I'd been watching, but I absolutely could not go through with the adoption. Naturally, my parents freaked, and the reaction of my child's father doesn't warrant explanation. However, I was doing this with or without their support. At the time of my decision, I still had no clue as to the sex of my baby, nor how in the world I was going to provide for it. With all of this going on, I was attending my senior year of high school, tolerating such remarks as "weebles wobble, but they don't fall down" from an irritating, obnoxious boy in my fifth period English class. One day, while sitting next to this boy in class, a pain ripped through my abdomen. With my head on my desk and my hands white-knuckling the chair in front of me, I came to the conclusion that I was in labor. At 5:31 the next morning, through the reflection in my doctor's goggles, I witnessed the birth of a son. Caleb Chase Payton weighed in at a hefty 9 pounds and 9 ounces and was a respectable 22 inches long. Alone in the labor and delivery room, gazing down at my frowning baby boy, I fell deeply in love for the very first time. Later, I married that irritating, obnoxious boy in my fifth period English class after falling deeply in love for the second time in my life. Greg Flynn had also fallen in love with my son and chose to be his father. Greg loved Caleb unconditionally, teaching him all the things a boy learns from his father. In 1992, Greg adopted Caleb, giving him his name. A year later, Sarah Page was born, and 7 years later, Emily Dawn was born. I couldn't believe how blessed I was. In 2002, I defied statistics and graduated with honors from Southwestern Oklahoma State University. Then, when Caleb was the same age I was when he came into my life, Greg left ours. At the age of 34, Greg died from a heart problem. Caleb was the most distraught of us all. He grieved inconsolably for this man who had loved him unconditionally. In spite of his loss, though, Caleb persevered and graduated high school in May of 2010. In March of 2011, Caleb met Denise Kendrick, who blessed me with a grandchild on September 25, 2012. Miley June Flynn weighed in at 8 pounds and 8 ounces and was a respectable 21 inches long. Today, I am remarried to a wonderful man who doesn't deign to take the place of Greg, but instead enjoys the legacy he left behind. Caleb, Sarah, and Emily all love Alan and are thrilled to accept him into the circle of love that began with what started out as a statistically impossible situation that God instead repurposed for good.